an Australian senator has been slammed for his disgusting verbal attack against King Charles. An Australian politician has criticised Lydia Thorpe for disrupting King Charles' speech in Australia. Hello kings and queens, please make sure to subscribe and click the notifications bell icon so you don't miss any premium updates about the British royal family. Another Australian senator defended King Charles after protests overshadowed his speech in the country's Parliament building. Charles and Camilla faced limited protests during their tour of Australia, which began on Monday, from supporters of First Nations resistance to colonialism, who waved a banner with the word decolonisation on it on a number of occasions. The outburst by an elected representative is likely to be seen as an embarrassment to Charles, who is making his first visit to Australia as king. Ms. Thorpe sits as an independent in the upper house of the Australian Parliament and issued a statement ahead of the royal visit. As First Peoples, we have never relinquished our sovereignty over this land. The Crown invaded this country, did not seek a treaty with First Peoples, and committed genocide on our people. King Charles is not the rightful ruler of these lands, she said in his overshadowed speech. Protesting, Charles spoke affectionately about his connection to Australia, a country he first visited as a teenager, saying he arrived a teenager and left more than drilled after his experience studying in the outback. Australian Senator Lydia Thorpe criticised the king earlier today, telling him, "You are not my king," and demanded the conclusion of a treaty between the First Nations in Australia and their government. Ms. Thorpe waited until the end of Charles' historic speech at the Australian Parliament building, in the country's capital, Canberra, to attack him verbally and claim that the genocide had been committed against the indigenous people of the Commonwealth country. But her annoyance was not received well by some of her colleagues, including Senator Ralph Babbitt, who responded to her confrontation by calling it disgusting. Mr. Babbitt wrote on The Constant, "Disgusting. Senator Thorpe has disgraced not only herself and the Australian Parliament, but every Australian man, woman and child." Understandably, the king was unfazed and did not let the anger overshadow what the royal party viewed as a wonderful day in the Australian capital, which saw them greet hundreds of well-wishers at the National War Memorial, including a sneezing alpaca. During his speech earlier, King Charles spoke affectionately about his relationship with Australia, a country he first visited as a teenager, saying he arrived a teenager and left more than drilled after his experience studying in the outback. He also highlighted the debt he owed to Australia's indigenous people. "In my many visits to Australia, I have witnessed the courage and hope that have guided the nation's long and sometimes difficult journey towards reconciliation," Charles said. "Throughout my life, the First Nations peoples of Australia have given me the great honour of sharing their stories and cultures so generously. I can only say how much my own experience has been shaped and enhanced by this traditional wisdom.